Hi, welcome back to the channel and thanks for clicking on this video. So today I wanted to give you some of my thoughts on the Viltrox 20mm f2.8 prime lens that I have recently added to my collection. And this is going to be sort of a casual review. I'm not a professional photographer or videographer, and this is sort of my thoughts on how I feel about it, having used it for some travel and for some specific scenarios that I intended to use this lens in. So if you're interested, then feel free to keep on watching. So I first heard about this Viltrox lens through some photography YouTubers that I watch, and the main things that I got from those videos were that this lens is a very affordable lens for being full frame, and it is an autofocusing lens. And I had been missing a wide lens in my kit. The widest lens that I own is 35mm, which is really great for portrait photography or just everyday photography, even landscape photography, I would say. But I sort of wanted a lens that I could do some vlogging with, as well as take some real estate photos with. And by real estate, I mean take photos of an accommodation room where I don't have a lot of space, but I still wanted to show the size of the room. So I'm currently using this lens as a talking head lens, and I also used it for my last two YouTube videos, and I've been really happy actually with how those videos have turned out. And I'm sitting quite close to the camera actually, but it gives sort of on screen, it gives me a lot of space and I can show my background quite nicely. So there was that, and I decided to pick this lens up because it only retails for $260, 260 Australian dollars, so it's very affordable for a full frame prime lens, and it goes down to 2.8, which is pretty good. It opens up quite wide for the aperture. And I also really liked that it was a very small and lightweight lens, so it was going to be great for on-the-go vlogging or vlogging when I'm traveling. I also didn't want to spend that much money and invest too much in a 20mm lens because I'd never shot at 20mm before. I thought $260 was quite a budget-friendly amount to invest in just to find my feet and get to know this focal length. This lens, oh, the lighting's changed because the sun's coming out. So this lens is pretty basic. It doesn't come with a custom button, but it does have an aperture ring. And it also came with a little Viltrox dust bag as well as a lens shade. The lens shade's pretty small, pretty basic. I didn't really use this at all, and it doesn't really lock that well, but at least they provided one, so I guess that was nice. This lens also has a USB-C port on itself, so I guess that's good for firmware updates, which is pretty cool. I mean, I've never owned a lens that has a USB port for updates, so I'm very excited to try it out and see how that goes. I primarily use this lens actually on my full frame camera, so my Sony A7C II, and I like that I'm able to either shoot at 20mm or 30mm if I go into APS-C crop mode. 20mm I usually use for vlogging, or if I'm taking photos in a room that is really quite small and I don't have a lot of space, or I use this lens for filming, recording these talking head YouTube videos. But because this lens is the Sony E-mount lens, I'm actually also able to use this lens on my APS-C A6400 camera, which has been really good. So this lens turns into a 30mm lens when I put it on the A6400, and that's also been a really nice sort of little cute setup for when I'm out and about having lunch with friends and I want to snap a few pictures, or if I am at a family dinner and I just want a really small lightweight setup that I could, you know, take a few casual photos with. I was actually really impressed with this lens, with its video performance in particular, because I can't believe that the footage that comes out of this lens, it is so nice and bright, beautiful, sharp, and really crisp. I personally don't shoot in log. I kind of just take the footage straight out of the camera because I can't be bothered doing color grading, but the footage looks so nice coming out of this lens. And this lens is also really small and lightweight, so I felt like it made for a really good compact vlogging setup. And because this was my first time vlogging properly with an external mic and everything. I thought it was really good that I didn't have a setup that was too big and intrusive that I'd be super embarrassed about. And I found it really easy to take the camera out, switch it on, get a 5-second clip, switch it off, and then put it back in my bag again. So I think pairing this lens with a full frame camera makes for a really nice casual vlogging setup if you wanted to capture some footage of a family holiday, or if you wanted to do some casual vlogging. Although I think if you were to do serious vlogging, it would probably be better to have a zoom lens so that you get the versatility in using different focal lengths. In terms of photos though, unfortunately, I do think this lens does underperform compared to the other Sony lenses that I own, which is to be expected because this lens only costs about half of what those other lenses that I own cost. I found this out through a night where we went to a family dinner and silly old me forgot to bring a nicer lens to take the family photos that we were doing at the end, and so I was able to get some family photos using this lens, and it did really well because I was able to punch into APS-C crop mode just to make sure that those photos didn't end up too distorted. But I personally wouldn't take portraits on this lens because the quality, the images just aren't as sharp, especially also in low light. For some reason the photo capabilities aren't as good as the videos, in my opinion. So if I was traveling, I would definitely use this lens as my primary vlogging lens, but I would also bring along a separate lens for when I want to take really nice photos, and that lens would be the Sony 35mm f1.8 lens that I have talked about in another video, just because I think the difference is quite distinguishable. The difference is there for me. I do prefer the photos that come out of the 35mm lens a lot more than this lens. For vlogging though, and for making sort of casual videos, this lens definitely punches way above its price point, and I'm very happy to keep it in my collection for now. I highly recommend, if you are missing a wide lens and you want to try out a wide prime lens, to try this one out first. Or if you have lots of money to burn, you can go straight to these Sony G Master G lenses. That's cool too. And I do think it's a really worthy setup for not only its price point, but also its size and weight. Overall, I'm very happy with this lens, and I'm happy to keep it in my kit. I think it is a very affordable lens, being a full frame and fully autofocusing lens that you can use both on your APS-C and your full frame Sony camera. And I would have had to pay at least double if I wanted to buy something of a similar focal length from Sony. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.